In Washington, PRLA, along with its partners at the National Restaurant Association, continues to work diligently to get more money into the Restaurant Revitalization Fund. Frankly, it's an uphill battle. Passage of the necessary legislation will require the votes of 10 Republican senators. Outreach to Senator Toomey is important for this cause. Statistics released last week showed that about 3,530 Pennsylvania restaurants received grants totaling not quite $1 billion of the $26 billion and change that was appropriated. This means that about 35% of those from our state that applied received grants. The PA grants ranged from $1,400 to $10 million and averaged about $270,000. The Associated Press on Thursday reported that the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits has reached its lowest level since the pandemic struck last year. Jobless claims fell to about 360,000 last week, marking a continued steady decline since topping 900,000 in early January. Employers posted a record 9.2 million job openings in May. The Department of Labor and Industry Secretary reminded Pennsylvanians who receive unemployment benefits that work search requirements resumed the week of July 11th. Changes to the benefits and rules for unemployment during the COVID-19 pandemic have been identified by many economists and employers as a reason for the substantial number of currently unfilled jobs throughout the nation, while unemployment rates remain high. Pennsylvania is struggling with the same situation, continuing levels of high unemployment while there are a sizable number of available jobs. Speaking of unemployment, Spotlight PA is reporting that the Pennsylvania Department of Labor and Industry has admitted to overcharging unemployed Pennsylvania millions of dollars and will issue refunds to roughly 250,000 people. As bars and eateries struggle to staff up, several large restaurant chains have announced higher pay to entice workers to apply and stick around. Eating and drinking places added more than 500,000 jobs from March through June, according to the U.S. Department of Labor. But the unemployment rate for the industry remains elevated, hitting 10% in June. The U.S. Labor Department on Tuesday reported that inflation surged in June at its fastest pace in nearly 13 years in used vehicle costs and price increases in food and energy. Even stripping out volatile food and energy prices, the core CPI rose 4.5%, the sharpest move for that measure since the early 1990s. While some policymakers expect those pressures to ease, banking experts have acknowledged that inflation is stronger and more durable than anticipated. Our partners at the National Restaurant Association Educational Foundation recently released the 6th edition of its ServSafe COVID-19 operating guidance, which incorporates the latest recommendations and best practices from the CDC, FDA, and OSHA. You can download this important information by clicking on the link in the update. Pittsburgh City Council has voted to send legislation back to committee that would extend the current emergency paid leave requirement until 90% of the population is vaccinated. Council is not expected to consider the legislation at this time. The legislation as presented would have effectively made the emergency paid leave requirement permanent, and we applaud the Council's decision to shelve the bill. The National Restaurant Association will be hosting a complimentary educational session on July 22nd at 2 p.m. on how to identify if your business is eligible for the Employee Retention Tax Credit, known as ERTC, and what to expect from the application process. PRLA has been working tirelessly over the last 15 months to bring financial assistance to our industry. Restaurateurs who have accessed the ERTC have reported that it has had a huge impact on their financial statements. If you're not utilizing this resource, you should register for this webinar. Lastly, ABC 27 in Harrisburg reported that Pennsylvania ranked among the top 10 in the nation for vaccination rates, according to a recent study from WalletHub, which could mean a boost in revenue for hospitality and entertainment businesses. As we begin to see climbing case counts in certain parts of the country, the high vaccination rate in PA may well be responsible for Pennsylvania being on the low end of those increases. PRLA is continuing to host free pop-up COVID-19 vaccine clinics across Philadelphia and is looking to expand to other areas across the state. I'm John Longstreet with another edition of It Happened This Week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again next time.